If the originals that you've chosen have some type of artifact in them or leftover text, I suggest that you edit the scanned image. I also recommend that you save the final version as a transparent GIF so that the background will not interfere with the layout of your final document. Now these three images here represent the stages of completion, and the image here in the upper left hand corner has been scanned directly into Photoshop with no adjustments made to the scanner. And you can see here that the upper right corner of the monitor has lost much of its detail, and this will be very difficult to deal with when editing. Now my first suggestion would be to find an original with a dark or a contrasting background, but if that's not possible, then you can make some minor adjustments to your scanner and get what is essentially this second image. And this one I took the highlight down significantly, and you can see it's a little bit more gray, but it's still an accurate representation. But most importantly, you can also start to see this edge here. And this third image here in the bottom is our final product. Okay, to scan directly into Photoshop, one would go under File, Import, and then choose the source. Now I'm going to choose the Twain option because it launches the software associated with my scanner. Okay, and with the magic of video, we've cut to the previewed image, and what I'm going to do first is just obviously crop this down because it will save a lot of time in scanning the final product. Now everyone's scan software may be unique, but I was doing some experimentation with this software earlier and realized that the adjustment, all I need to do to get the image that I need is to drop the highlight down to -40. But I'm sure that you can also make some other adjustments to also get the desired image. And that's all I really need to do. And I'm going to go ahead and hit accept and scan. Okay, now that we have the image that we're going to use, the next thing to do is to edit out the unwanted background. The first thing I would suggest is to actually work from a copy of the background. That way, if you make a major mistake and feel like you need to start over, it's much easier to recover. You just turn the background back on and delete any unwanted layers. But to start, you set the duplicate layer, and don't worry about naming it. And then you have your background and your background copy, and you just turn this off, and then keeps it preserved. All right. So aside from the erase tool, which appears here, there are a lot of items in the toolbar that you can use to select pixels and delete them. And the most large scale one, and the one that can get a lot of work done with, is just the generic marquee tool. And I will just start selecting and deleting just to show you how easy that is. And sometimes you may prefer to actually do this type of editing towards the end, but I actually like it to begin with because that just sort of sets the boundaries of where I need to go. Now for the finite detail work, I usually magnify the image quite significantly, and then once you do that, a little bit gets lost, but you can use this navigation tool up here at the corner to get to where you want to go. Okay. Now the lasso tool has three options. One is just the generic lasso tool, the polygon, and the magnetic. Now I find that I have the most control over the polygon lasso tool, and that simply works by clicking it and setting an anchor point, and then you can work a curved surface by just selecting several small anchor points, and then I just bring it down, just generic space, click it so it closes, and then I just work around the image. And I don't know what these lines are here, but that may be because I'm running my Snagit program at the same time, so you have to forgive me for that. Okay. Now the magnetic tool does have some advantages, and let me just move over here and show you. However, my personal opinion is that it really works best when you have a contrasting color, and it's very, what happens is it sort of attaches to the edge of the image you want to delete. But I find that it's very subject to slight movements of, and I'm using a trackball, and so for my purposes, it's not something that I use on a regular basis. But maybe you can master it better than I. Okay, but as you can see, going back to my working space here, as I delete the unwanted background, the gray and white checkered pattern starts to emerge, and this represents the transparency. The difficulty that I have with this is that if I'm working with a white background and I'm moving around in a magnified environment, it's very difficult sometimes to see little pieces of the background that I've missed, and you don't want to wait till you import the final product into your design to realize that there's just little speckles or little bits of the background left over. So what I do, and let me just zoom out again, what I usually do is insert a color behind the image I'm working with, so any of those little anomalies will definitely stand out. And I do this by first generating a new layer. New layer. Okay, and again, it doesn't matter what you call it. If you change the color here, all that does is highlight it in your list here. But I want to go in here and choose the rectangle tool and cover the entire space. And you can change the color to anything you want, but I actually do prefer red. And then so that it appears behind your working image, you just rearrange the layers. And as you can see now, it's very obvious that there's some space here that I still need to get, and even some of this space at the top. Okay, well, to save some time, I've opened up the final version, and this is one where I've already gone through and edited out the unwanted background. And what I'd like to demonstrate very quickly is how to actually generate the GIF with the transparent background. If you were to just simply save this now as a JPEG or a bitmap, it would and imported it into your final document, you would see that all of this background would be white, and it would essentially negate all the work that you've done. Now first go ahead and save it as a Photoshop document, because you want to maintain the layers, and if you need to go back and edit it. But to get the GIF, you would say File, Save for Web, and this is unique to Photoshop. If you are using Fireworks, I believe you would say Export Screen View, but Save for Web. And essentially all you need to do is verify that this says GIF. Okay. And hit OK. And it will save it as a second image unique to your Photoshop document. And I'm going to hit